Hello, FLOSSTUBE. This is a new addition to my channel. Basically, my first Stitch With Me. So what what I've got in front of me right now is the Night Spirit Studio Iconic Visitor pattern that I've been working on. And I thought it would be an interesting time for us to do this Stitch With Me. I went out and purposefully bought this tripod that's going to allow me to just put my phone up above my work here so that I can actually show you properly what I'm doing, and if that's what you're interested in, and basically do this. I don't really have much else to say except please come along and stitch with me as I stitch this amazing pattern, the Iconic Visitor. Now, I'm not really sure how far we're going to get, but currently I'm just working a 312? A DMC 312 to part of the pattern here. So what I've got is a black Belfast linen that I'm working on, and I've actually cast a light underneath it so that it's easy to see where the holes are, so I can actually put the needle through. Although I must admit I do rely a little bit on the sound and the feeling of the needle traveling across the fabric. I've made so many mistakes on this one, like the amount of frogging that I've done. Honestly, it's the black linen. Black's already hard enough with Ada. Though I got to admit, when I was working on the Magnificent Wizard, there was these really difficult parts of that pattern where it was just one strand. Just got the mic there. Where it was just one strand and I'd go across the one strand. Oh my god, this is the big reveal. The back. I don't know if you're all judging me on what I do here, but everyone's got their ways, right? I was actually just like parking the thread at the bottom and then just going over it, but it wasn't working for this pattern. I do have more like that I could do. I could have like jumped across down here and gone up, but I actually prefer traveling down when I do my stitches. So I cut it off. I think the rule that I heard from someone else is just cut it off after 4. Like if it's more than 4 stitches away, just cut it and start again. And that is what I'm doing, because it works well for me. And I usually go under the threads to the left so that when I bring it up on the right, it's taut, so it doesn't like pull through. It's interesting, I don't really know what to do in a Stitch With Me except to just mumble about what I'm doing in front of me, so hopefully this is something that people find interesting. Maybe what I can do is actually tell you about my Easter long weekend. So it's been an interesting one. So basically what's happened this weekend is I've had a pretty busy week at work, and it was all very, let's just say it was very, it wasn't tiring, it was just waiting for Good Friday. So it's 4 days of just falling down to the weekend. So everything was sort of like furling in terms of problems. And then once the weekend hit on the Good Friday, well, once Thursday hit, it was like, that's enough. We don't need to do any more here. Let's pack it up and call it a weekend. So it came to Thursday night, and at that point I found out on that night that I had to go visit my mother because it was her 71st birthday. So I went over her place just to send her my birthday wishes and have dinner together and cut a little cake. I had a lovely little Basque cheesecake. I don't know if anyone's ever had that before. So a Basque cheesecake is just like a baked, milky, creamy goodness. It's fantastic for those who are lactose intolerant, as myself. Sorry, too much information, but we all have some sort of ailment. There's mine. But it was delicious. And soon after, though, that night, unfortunately, I found out that my dad did actually end up going to hospital, and he was in hospital at that point in the emergency room waiting for a bed, because about 1 week ago he was at my sister's place, and she lives out what we call the sticks in Australia, but it's actually a beautiful area of Australia, New South Wales anyway, called Bowral. And it seems that it's possible that it's possible that he got bitten on the back of his head. Just don't know by what. So was it a spider? Was it he was saying snake. It wasn't a snake. Thing is that it was just an interesting story from his side, because it's like, well, if it was a spider, you'd know about it. If it was a snake, as he said, he's very dramatic, my father, he'd know about that too. But what it probably was a tick. And most likely he got it when he was walking outside underneath the trees. Now, if you get a tick, you should definitely check that out. But I don't think he knew what it was, except to say that he had like a little bump on the back of his head. So he didn't really do anything about it for about 3 days. And what I think happened in the end was that the tick's saliva probably got into his bloodstream, and then he ended up in hospital because his lymph nodes got swollen. That's not great. It's not lethal, but it's not great. And he was in pain, and that's why he went there. So he's actually still in hospital currently. And he's doing well, but there was a little bit of a mismanagement there between public and private health systems, and him having a bed. Anyways, without going into too much detail, he's still in hospital, and he's doing okay. My mum's a bit upset, but of course you'd be upset if your partner's in hospital, so I'm just being there for both him and her as he gets a little bit better. I can not get this. There we go. I just have to start a new thread. Just doing a loop start. My favorite method of starting. So we get to Good Friday. In the morning, I actually took my mum to visit my father just to see how he was. We took his pajamas, and she brought him she made him 2 sandwiches. She was just complaining as she got there. She kept saying, "Nick, they're egg sandwiches. You have to eat them straight away." There was a little argument about that. It was actually quite strange, but in the hospital also, me and my brother were there, and we witnessed the nurses having an argument outside, which I thought was really, I'm going to say, it was pretty disrespectful to the patients there. They were very loud, but, you know, it was Good Friday, and most likely they were subs or not always there, so it's just not the perfect time to go if you want to be managed properly by the hospital or the health system. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do. And yeah, soon after, I actually did have plans yesterday to go to the Royal Easter Show here in Sydney. I was really looking forward to it too, because I had the tickets were only for the day, and I missed out because of the hospital visit. Plus, it was also raining. Like the weather wasn't great in Sydney, and so we didn't end up going. But what's great about the Easter show is there's this beautiful like craft fair where they show lots of embroidered projects, cross stitch, textile work, you know, like crochet or knitted fabric. They also do like cakes. It's pretty amazing. It's a really, really awesome sort of exhibition of these artworks from all these designers all over. I actually don't know if it's New South Wales or like if it's strictly New South Wales. I think it is strictly New South Wales. But yeah, it's just a very beautiful exhibition, but we didn't end up going. Hopefully we can go on Monday after Easter Sunday. If we can't make it, that's okay, but I'm trying to start these traditions with my partner where we, you know, maybe walk there from where we live. It's kind of like a good 10-kilometer walk. That way we can get our exercise in. But that's for Monday. We're not there yet. Today is Saturday. So the rest of Good Friday was basically spent. I think we actually did go out for a walk. No. I think what was we decided we'd go to the movies. So we got to about 4 o'clock. With daylight savings, the sun was going down at that point, and we just left the house at around 4:30 to make a movie at 6:30 p.m. in the city. So we walked all the way from Marrickville, which is about a 6k walk. We like to walk, if you haven't noticed. But we walked all the way from Marrickville to the cinema in the city, and we watched little guilty pleasure, little video game movie called Super Mario Brothers, which I thought was a lot of fun. It was actually quite comfortable too. We got the full recliner seats at the front of the cinema. What was funny was I was actually there for work, not even a day before that, testing out the cinema for one of our shows that we want to display there. Or we want to do like a screening for the executives. But yeah, still had a great time. Movie was great. I rated it 3.5 out of 5 on my Letterboxd account. Love a good movie. Then we came home, and I was in a mood, like a mood for movies. Sometimes I get these little obsessive moments where I want to just digest as much of a movie as possible. Well, not a movie, like movies. Like I feel like I miss out, so I want to go back and look at the catalogue of what I've missed and catch up. So I found this list online that was numbered, and I went to this website called random.org. Basically, I picked a number out of 100 from that random.org calculator or whatever they've got there, and I took it, and then I looked at the movie at that number on the list, and it landed on a Martin Scorsese film called The King of Comedy, which was a Robert De Niro film in 1982. I've never seen it, so lucky for me, it was on the Disney Plus streaming service, and I've got that. So I started watching it last night and stitching. It was a good movie. 3.5. I keep my 4s and my 5s for the really good ones. But 3.5 means I really liked it. And there's actually an interesting movie about delusion. How deluded you can be. And you don't see movies like that anymore. It's too high octane action, a little bit dumb sometimes, to be honest. Which, you know, like I just told you I watched Super Mario Brothers and I enjoyed it. I mean, it was dumb though, like, but it was enjoyable, right? Entertaining. Alright, that's that part there. Okay, I'm gonna just... I would normally pin stitch, but the fabric is too soft. I just feel like it would come straight off. Gosh, I hope I'm still in camera angle. Hold on. Alright, no, we're good. Alright, just getting myself acquainted here. So where was I? So yeah, I watched The King of Comedy, which was fantastic. Another Martin Scorsese film to add to the list of films that I've watched. One of my favourite things to do is mark it off my Letterboxd account, because I track what movies I watch on it. And tracking that and taking that, like, you know, just marking that as another movie off my list is always a nice feeling. We are on to another thread, everybody. We are moving on to another DMC color. I think what I'm going to be moving on to now is 336. So let us do that. 336. Already got a little thread on here that I could probably use. Yep. Just checking my camera again. I think running close to the battery dying. I didn't think about that. I might have to hook it up somewhere. It's alright. Let's see how far I can go. So yeah, it was a great little feeling to just mark off where I got to on my movie journey. Right. I don't know if I'm allowed to show patterns, like a part of a pattern on Stitch with Me's, but I'm not going to, because I'm just a little bit worried about the copyright. So at least you could see what I'm doing, like where I'm going, but I'm just a bit worried that if I do it, I'll be caught up with a copyright issue, and that's not something that I'm really gonna enjoy if that does happen, so I'd rather not. Alright. So then today I woke up really early in the morning and I continued my little reading journey that I've got, or that I've started, that I've mentioned in my previous FLOSSTUBE. I'm currently reading a book called A Memory Called Empire, and I'm not going to lie, it's a very difficult book. I don't know why I picked such a difficult book to begin reading on. I mean, I did finish that like a Twin Peaks spin-off sort of book called Secret Diary of Laura Palmer, which is easy to read because I guess you know the characters in the TV shows. You've got the backstory, but in this one, I just find it very difficult to understand the language. Then I always feel dumb because, like, if it gets awards, I always think, well, if everyone else is giving it high accolades and you're not understanding it, then it's you. But then I turn that around and I'm like, well, I'm a casual reader. So if I'm a casual reader, I just have to pick books that aren't as complicated, because clearly some books are just catered to people who are advanced readers, and I am not that. But I woke up and it was a beautiful day outside. Blue skies through my window. And of course, like, there's just no point in staying in on days like that. So I told my partner, let's make some plans here. Where do you want to go? And so we decided we were going to do a lovely walk through the suburbs and out towards the water's edge at, well, it's called the Bay Run. It starts from an area called Five Dock and pretty much follows the coastline of the Parramatta River, which takes you towards the city. And it was really lovely. And it was also just a windy day. It kind of reminds you of those Japanese animations. You always see clothes on a clothesline just flapping in the wind, or like licking at the wind, if you know what I mean. And I find the walks really, just a great way for me to bond with my partner, where we can just talk and discuss, and sometimes we argue. Usually it's over like ideas or points that we want to get across. I think one of the things I was talking to him about today was how I think we live in, I mean, this is too political, but like we just get into these tirades where I was just like, is democracy just a facade, and is capitalism the true leader? Like stupid shit like that. We both kind of just, I mean, we're not intellectuals, but we do like to discuss these things, and it's just a nice time. But anyways, going back to this beautiful bay run that we're on, it was just this lovely walk. The water was just a bit choppy, so there was like a little bit of sea spray that would come because of the wind kicking it up. I love that. I love the smell of like salt water and just kind of like when it hits you, it's just nice. Bit of a water baby. And there were so many people out there too. But we walked past Balmain. Balmain's this like old part of the city that's across the water from the main city. And so when we got to Balmain, there was a port there for a ferry. So we waited for the ferry to catch it. And we were trying to decide where to go because we were thinking of food at that point and where we could eat. And we decided in the end that we were going to go to the new area called Barangaroo. So that's where we caught the ferry. And we went to Barangaroo where, I'm going against what I said, and I'm going to go up. I'm going to stitch up, guys. I hate stitching up, but I'm going to do it. So we ended up going to this. I looked at my watch, and my watch said 706 calories, burned. Just let me check the phone to see if it's still filming. It is. Great. Yeah, they were like 700. That my watch was saying 706 calories burned. I'm like 706 calories. That's great. I'm gonna get some fried chicken, and then I was gonna get chips. So I did order the fried chicken, but I was gonna get chips, but I didn't. I was like, I'll just get a iceberg lettuce wedge, just to make me feel better, to see some green on my plate. Well, anyways, the chicken was delicious. Spicy but delicious. We actually continued our walk from there around Barangaroo, which again just is the water's edge, which is lovely, and past the harbour bridge, the Sydney Harbour Bridge, into where the Sydney Opera House is. So we did this massive walk, and there was a bit of a destination in hand. My partner really wanted he really wanted me to buy him a book. So I took him to one of the bookshops in the main city, called Dimex, and it was really populated in there today, but nevertheless it was a nice experience in there. And he bought himself a book. Well, I bought him the book, and a board game. I think he got something like a Trivial Pursuit, because tomorrow we're going to be with family for Easter, and he wanted to have a game that we could all play together, like Trivial Pursuit, because his family are good at that sort of stuff, and I never used to be, but 17 years with someone, you kind of have to keep up. So now when Jeopardy's on, I have to make sure I get something right. Otherwise I'm not really playing. So yeah, and then we caught the train home after we went there, and I actually went to JB Hi-Fi, this electronics store, and picked up this tripod so I can put the camera up here. But yeah, the day got the better of me, and as soon as I got home, like with all that beautiful sunny weather that we had, and just the perfect temperature of just warm but kind of cold because of the breeze, but not enough for you to put a jumper on, but kind of enough that it wouldn't have mattered if you did. You know what I mean? That type of weather. As soon as I got home, all that wind hitting me, all of that, it just gave me that nice feeling where I could just lay down on the couch. I actually ended up on my bed because that's where the afternoon sun hits, in the master bedroom. And I completely dozed off. And then I woke up and here I am, stitching with you guys. I must say, I'm more focused in stitching in a Stitch With Me than I am when I'm doing it by myself. I feel like I've gotten a lot done here. It's interesting. But yeah. That was my weekend, everybody. Well, I mean, it's not over yet. Still got plans up ahead. Still got Easter tomorrow. My father will still be in hospital, but my mother will want to go to church, and I will probably take her to that. And then after church, I'm going to have to travel all the way out to the western suburbs of Sydney, where the other half of my family is, to celebrate Easter. Probably be there out till the evening, come back home, and then my sister might come over, so it's going to be a real packed weekend, but it'll be great to see my nieces tomorrow if they do come over. They're getting so old now, my gosh. Teenagers. Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to think about coming back to work on Tuesday, but it's what it is, right? We've got to do it. We've got to make the money, make the cash. Monday's always going to be like that day where I need to just make sure that I don't do too much, because I don't want to go nuts on Monday, get too tired, and then have to recover in the work week. Not me. I don't want to do that. So on Monday, if it's just another little walk somewhere nice, and then just come home and make some dinner, or maybe go out and get some Vietnamese takeout, something like that. Oh, why can't I find the hole here? It's just in that right spot where the light wasn't hitting it for me. And yeah, I think that is coming to the conclusion of this first Stitch With Me, guys. I don't really know how long these are supposed to be, but I feel like I've come to a natural end, and I better just stop it here before it just gets so dreary that you might all fall asleep. Well, this is exciting. I did say that I was going to do one of these, and here we are, and I've done it. So, yes, there we go. That is the final product. Let's see. There we go. So, what have I done here? I've done pretty much finished off these sections here, added in the navy blue in between as a filler. And soon I'll be done with the visitor, and then I can start on the background, which is going to be exciting. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. This is my first Stitch With Me, as I said. I hope you liked it. If there's anything that I should add next time I do it, let me know. I feel like, as my first one, this is a prototype. So yeah, just leave any comment, let me know if you enjoyed this or not, and I'll know if it's something that I can continue doing. Alright, thank you very much. Have a lovely, lovely Easter.